Once again.
Hello, it's Jimmy again here at O'Reilly's Mobile Mechanics, and we have a VW Tiguan rear shock absorbers. I've been called out to have a look at it. It's sort of bouncing all over the road, and figured it's the rear shock absorbers, so I've brought a pair with me here, and we're going to get those replaced, but I can show you what's happening with the car. So basically, if we if I just put my knee on the back of the car there, give it a bounce, you can sort of see there the bounce in the car. Just try to show you that again. So if we give it a single bounce there, you can see the car is just bouncing up and down 4 or 5 times before it comes to a stop. And obviously that's a lot worse when it's on the road. Going over a bump, the back of the car is just constantly doing this, and it's sort of swaying to the side. You know, she's gonna lose control. Your shock absorbers are what keeps the car stable, so we're gonna get them replaced. We've just got the vehicle jacked up there and a stand underneath the sill there, and we'll open the wheel nut, so we're gonna get the wheel off. So here we have the shock absorber, and you can see there that it's been leaking for a fair while because all of this grit has been sticking to the oil that's been leaking out of it. So we've just got a bolt here, and up the top we should have 2 bolts. You can remove this inner arch, or you know, it is slightly flexible, so you can just move it a little bit and get a socket on either side. So you got a bolt there either side, one there and one there. Get those open and the bottom open, and we can get the complete unit out and replaced. Got those bolts out, and that's the bolts there that come from the top. 2 little short 17mm bolts. Down the bottom here we have a 21mm bolt. It's got 21mm spanner on it here, and you can just get that open. Just should get a little bit looser like this once you do the first few turns. The first turn was just very hard. After that it gets a bit easier. Now we've got that bolt out. It's quite a long one. Takes a fair while to wind out. Just leave that there. Then we should be able to get the complete unit out now. Surprisingly, on this shock, usually when they get this bad, there's no resistance on them, so they just close and open up and down without any resistance. This one is completely opposite. It doesn't compress whatsoever, so it's just locked, completely solid, fully open. I didn't really check the bounce on this side. I wish I had now, but I'd like to see what was happening on this side. So there would have been no flex on this side of the car, just on the passenger side, I suppose. There isn't any movement on this. It's not moving at all, it's locked solid. We get the new shock absorber unit out here, and I'll show you. If we press it, obviously it will close down, and then it will just automatically rise back up itself. That's what this unit's not doing. It's just completely locked up. So we'll pop that cap off, and here we have 16mm bolt in the top there. So we'll get that drilled out. This is how we're going to do that. It's a 16mm offset spanner there, and we're just going to hold the top of it with the adjustable spanner there, and then we can twist the spanner off with holding the centre. And just like that, she is free. Now we can get that bolt out, because we will need to reuse this mounting section here of the shock. This separates from it, so that'll come off. And look at that, that's just decided now. It's just decided to free itself out. We've just wiped up the dust cover there, so it doesn't look like it's in a state as it was, and we're just going to refit it back onto the shock absorber. And it just should slip right down as long as we line it up. We just need to align it with the hole at the top there and get it in. Now that new bolt's been put on, just put the cap back on there, and we can put this back to the car. Another thing worth mentioning there is two washers there that go either side of the bolt, one on that side and one on the other side, so you just need to make sure you don't drop those and lose them and put them back in. So that's it, those bolts up the top have been put in. Now we're just winding in the bottom bolt. Just we haven't got a ratchet in the 21mm, so we're just doing this one the slow way, but we'll get there in a few minutes. So now that other side's all done, the driver's side, we're going to now do the passenger side, but we'll skip this bit as you've already seen the procedure really, and once we've got it fitted we'll show you the difference in the bounce of the car. Here's the second shock absorber we have out, and if you look at this one, it's got the opposite problem. It's just bouncing around freely, no resistance or no control whatsoever in it. And once we get the new one on, I'll show you. It should compress down, but it should be hard to press down and slowly, and when you let go it'll come back up, but in a controlled way where it's just slightly coming back up. Now the new shock absorbers are on. I'm gonna lean on the boot here again and just give it a bounce. See if you can see. There's hardly any movement because it's nice and stiff. The car's actually sitting a little bit higher as well. Now we're going to get in and take it for a test drive. Once we move the car, the height should sort of level itself back down again, because the shock absorbers shouldn't really control how high the car is. It just stops it from bouncing so much, and it just lowers the rate that the suspension comes down. And there you go, yeah, the reason it was leaning forward so much and the back was up because it was on park and the front wheels were holding it, and obviously when you jack it down it just wasn't going down to where it originally sat. But that's it, the job's all finished. It's driving nice and controlled now, the car feels much better to drive, and we will see you on the next video.